Hi guys, it's me, Skylar Capri, and today I'm talking about the Victoria's Secret Pink Fall and Halloween Body Care collection. Now, I know I typically do Bath & Body Works body care, but as Victoria's Secret is launching a bunch of new things, and I'm sure a lot of people have overlap between buying both Bath & Body Works and Victoria's Secret, I did want to start incorporating Victoria's Secret into my channel so that you can have total holistic body care news. That being said, if you're returning to my channel, welcome back, and if you're new here, welcome. We do all things body care on my channel, so if that sounds like something interesting, make sure to hit that subscribe button, and without further ado, let's get right on into the video. All right, you guys, so I'm gonna sit on this side of the screen and put some images up right here, but we really have two truly Halloween-centered body care fragrances, and then we have three fall gourmands. So I'm gonna start with the Halloween fragrances first, and those two fragrances are called Good Ghoul and Haunt Mess. I feel like these names are so fun, so appropriate for Halloween, and I think they did a really good job really thinking out what they wanted to name the products. We're gonna start off with Good Ghoul first, and you guys, this packaging I think is phenomenal for a couple of reasons. First, I love the combination of the baby pink and then you have this really sort of bright orangey red text. I think that contrast looks really nice, and it's not overly traditional like Halloweeny. It's not black and orange, it's this sort of pink and red orange, which I feel like is very fun and unique. The text of the pink, the body mist, and then also the Good Ghoul fragrance name, it definitely leans more of that Halloween, almost spooky Victorian vibe, which I think is a nice detail as well. Lastly, we have this holographic spider web. Now, what I love about this is that you can definitely get an overall Halloween essence. You know that this is focused for Halloween. However, if I had this at my shelf and maybe I was looking at it from a distance, this doesn't necessarily scream like very explicitly that this is a Halloween-centered product. I do feel like because that spider web is almost so subtle, you could have this up year-round and not really notice that it's really catered towards Halloween, which is something that I like as well. I do always love seasonality of a scent, but seasonality of a packaging is something that I look for as well. Now, getting into the actual fragrance notes, if you are a fan of the Bath & Body Works Enchanted Candy Potion from a couple of years ago, this one might be right up your alley. This one has three notes. We have sugared strawberries, pink poppies, and candy fairy dust. It says it feels light, ethereal, and sugary. She's the girliest ghost with the most, and smells soft and spirited, full of candied strawberries, pink petals, and a dusting of spooky sweetness. This is your sweet candy type fragrance. I feel like the strawberries in this one are very nice, very wearable year round. I feel like this would be great for Valentine's Day as well. It does have a slight floral undertone, which I know some people really don't like that kind of floral note in all of their products. They'd much rather just a full-on fruity or a full-on gourmand or a full-on candy. So that pink poppies note does have a very slight floral undertone, but I would definitely say it's those sugared strawberries and candy fairy dust that are really coming through, making this a very sweet, sugary fragrance. Overall, I'm giving this one an 8 out of 10. For me personally, if they just would have left off that pink poppies note, or maybe they made it like a candied pink poppies, I really wanted this one to be full sugar, but it does have a slight floral undertone to it. So that is why I'm docking those 2 points. But if you did like something like Enchanted Candy Potion, or maybe something in the Bath & Body Works lineup, I know we have Ghoul Friend, but that's dark strawberries, is a little bit too much for you, and you want something a little bit sweeter and brighter, I think you should definitely check this one out. Now, the next Halloween-centered fragrance we have is Haunt Mess, and this one comes in this really pretty purple packaging with almost this chartreuse highlighter yellow green text. I think this is the perfect, almost epitome of Halloween. It's like the cool girl Halloween. You have the purple, you have the green, you have another one of those more holographic. I do think this is darker of the holographic spider webs. This one definitely screams way more Halloween than Good Ghoul does, but again, I think this is fitting. You could definitely have it on your shelf year round, and it's not overly Halloween, but definitely leans more on the Halloween track. Now, this one has fragrance notes of dark blackberries, midnight jasmine, and mystic woods. And there is a fragrance that Bath & Body Works has come out with that is very popular that I think this is quite similar to if you've been trying to track that one down. This one says it smells like berry, witchy, swirling with juicy blackberries and fragrant night blooming jasmine, and feels frighteningly bold and fruity, a a dark love spell cast from a bejeweled wand at the stroke of midnight. These stories are so fun, really well thought out, and it's a really nice move by the brand to include all of this, as I feel like when you're buying online, you're really not getting the whole entire idea, but placing the story, doing the smell like, and the fragrance notes is really pulling it all together. Good job, Victoria's Secret Pink. Now this one I would definitely say is more berry forward, so definitely that stronger blackberry note, but I would say it's very similar to Dark Kiss by Bath & Body Works. Not an exact dupe, but I feel like if you layered that one with other things or you like to wear that one, I feel like this has quite a bit of similarity with that fragrance. Now, Dark Kiss has notes of black raspberry, burgundy rose, incense, dark vanilla bean, and plum musk, and some of the overlap here is obviously the dark blackberries in the Haunt Mess to the black raspberry of the Dark Kiss, the midnight jasmine of the Haunt Mess to, I would probably compare it to the burgundy rose, somewhat of a floral fragrance, and then the Mystic Woods really goes into that incense note in the Dark Kiss. So there is definitely an overlap here. If you like that Dark Kiss fragrance, but you don't want to pay a lot of money on a Mercari or another kind of discontinued reselling site, definitely check out Haunt Mess. I think this could be something for you. Also, if you're looking for a berry fragrance, but maybe the kind of plum note in Vampire Blood isn't for you, or the dark strawberries in the Ghoul Friend of Bath & Body Works isn't for you, I think this one could be a nice alternative. Overall, I am giving this one a 6 out of 10. I think it's a nice fragrance, but for me personally, when I'm looking for a fragrance, especially one for the fall and Halloween months, I don't want that floral note. And that jasmine mix with the Mystic Woods on me, it gives this sort of woodsy, really floral kind of vibe that does not overpower the berry. It's definitely a berry forward fragrance, but I feel like on me, it just goes a little bit more into that like woodsy, musky. Then you have this berry almost trying to cover that up, if that makes sense. If you're familiar, it's almost like you like went outside all day and then you sprayed body mist on, but you didn't shower. So you still have like that underlying like kind of sweat musky smell. And then you have the perfume on top. That's what happens with me with this fragrance. So it's not something that wears nice on me, but I feel like when I spray this on a tester strip or just like in the air or smelling in the bottle, it smells really nice. So really the score isn't on me thing, but I feel like if you like Dark Kiss, if you're looking for a blackberry woodsy fragrance, this one would be perfect for you. So you guys, that really covers their 2 Halloween centered fragrances. Let's dive into their 3 fall gourmands. All right, you guys, so diving into those 3 fall gourmands, we have Apple Crisp, Cinna Drizzle, and Buttery Sugar. I feel like this is a good lineup for a fall gourmand. Obviously, you have to have somewhat apple. I do really enjoy that they included a cinnamon roll note or cinnamon roll fragrance in this collection. I would love to see Bath & Body Works do more cinnamon roll products. I feel like a couple of years ago, we had a mini and I believe Merry Christmas iced cinnamon rolls, but we really haven't seen anything outside of sweet cinnamon pumpkin really have a nice central cinnamon fragrance, at least in Bath & Body Works Bodycare. Now that last fragrance, Buttery Sugar, that one is very unique and I feel like it's going to be hit or miss for a lot of people, but we're going to go ahead and start off with Apple Crisp. Now Apple Crisp, from a packaging standpoint, this is definitely more of your traditional pink body care. I feel like they could have done something a little bit more maybe fun on this. I don't know. I think the red is fitting, but maybe that banner, maybe they did like a green and a khaki color as opposed to the red and the pink. I would like to have this be a little bit more of a fall vibe. This to me could be year round, Valentine's Day. Nothing about it is really screaming like fall, apple picking, baking. I'd love to see maybe that green stripe as a pop. I feel like that would have looked really nice. Packaging aside though, the fragrance notes on this one include fruit tart, honey pear, and sugar glaze. So keep in mind those scent notes because we're going to dive into those one by one in just a second. But this one, it says it smells like the first bite into a fruity fall treat. Think a fresh honey sweet apple glazed with sugar and surrounded by warm flaky pastry. It feels like an idyllic orchard day, all crisp air, fresh apples, hot cider, and warm donuts. Now really picking up on what they said in the smells like, and I feel like they described this perfectly. This one definitely dives more into a fresh standpoint rather than a baked good. You will also notice in their fragrance notes, they have the tart, the fruit tart, the honey pear, and the sugar sugar glaze, there's nothing about like cinnamon or clove. And usually when I'm thinking apple crisp, I am thinking apples and cinnamon, apple cider, that kind of spice note to the apples, and you're not getting any of that spice in this fragrance. So this one's not syrupy, it's not sticky, it's not really even a baked good. It's much more of a fresh appley fragrance. The apple and the pear do really mix and combine really well for an overall seamless fragrance, but it definitely pulls more on that freshness rather than baked and kind of simmering on the oven or the stove top. Now, I would say this does pull some similarities to the Emerald Mist fragrance we got at Bath & Body Works a couple of years ago. I had that one in the shower gel, and that one is really strong on the pear, and pear is something that Bath & Body Works does really well. I really would have loved them to do more pear this year. Fingers crossed that we'll see something later in the year, but if you don't remember that one, it had fragrance notes of fresh rainfall, sun-kissed pear, and blonde woods. So that one didn't have really any apple to it, but this apple crisp is almost like if you took Emerald Mist, sweetened it up just a tad, and added a real nice fresh apple fragrance. So maybe if you have an existing pear product in your collection and you kind of liked the vibe of that Emerald Mist, but maybe it was missing something, this could be something for you. Overall, I'm going to give this one a 6 out of 10, and really that comes down to this really isn't an apple crisp. It's not a baked good. It's more of that fresh apple and pear. It would make more sense if it was like maybe apple tart or fresh apples or maybe like apple orchard or something like that. But when I'm thinking apple crisp, I'm thinking gooey, sugary, cinnamon, clove, that's kind of syrupy, sticky type of vibe. And that's just not what I was getting in this fragrance. Not a bad fragrance. It's a nice appley pear fragrance, nice for the fall time, but not apple crisp. Now, the next fragrance we have is Cinnadrizzle. Now, Cinnadrizzle, I was really wanting something truly gourmand. I wanted an iced cinnamon roll, one of those Cinnabon cinnamon rolls, like you open up the package and it just hits you with this nice cinnamon sugary vibe. So it has notes of warm icing, fluffy pastry, and cinnamon sugar. This one smells like an utterly addictive, warm and delicious icing on top of a hot, fresh cinnamon roll, and feels like walking into a cloud of your favorite patisserie first thing in the morning. Now, this one is much more, rather than a cinnamon roll really having that warmth, to me this smells like cinnamon sugar and honestly like a cinnamon toast crunch. If you've ever opened a bag of cinnamon toast crunch, before you like pour it into the milk, it has this cinnamon sugar fragrance to it, but it's not necessarily like warm and doughy like a cinnamon roll is. Now, I forgot to mention the packaging. I like the packaging on this. I get Cinnadrizzle for this. I almost like how they almost did like a Cinnabon color, this kind of tealy blue with the brown. This looks good to me. I think the light pink in the back is fine, but overall, I mean, I think the packaging is fine, but I really care about what's inside of the bottle. So for me, this one really just smells more of like a cinnamon toast crunch, kind of a drier cinnamon sugar rather than like this ooey gooey cinnamon roll. And also, I'm really not getting a lot of that icing note. I would have loved to have like almost like a cream cheese note or something kind of icing drizzle in this. And unfortunately, I'm getting that cinnamon sugar and fluffy pastry, but not so much of that warm icing. So overall, I'm going to give this one a 6 out of 10. I think it's nice. It does pull on that cinnamon sugar note, but it lacks the kind of adequate warmth to make this a cinnamon roll as opposed to a cinnamon toast crunch. Also, when my sister tried this one on her, it smelled very artificial. I would say definitely get in stores and try this one out. On me, I thought it smelled really nice. It was kind of this nice cinnamon sugar vibe. It's going to be a little bit spicy if you don't like that true cinnamon note. Sometimes sweet cinnamon pumpkin at Bath & Body Works, that cinnamon pulls a little bit spicy on you. It pulled a little bit spicy on me, but still manageable, but definitely cinnamon sugar. It unfortunately pulled very artificial, so recommend getting in stores and trying this one out on yourself. Now, the last fragrance we have is Buttery Sugar. Now, Buttery Sugar has fragrance notes of flaky croissant, maple butter, and vanilla sugar, and I thought this was going to be a really delicious kind of maple fragrance. If you're familiar with like a maple-filled cream stick, if you're from the Northeast, you will know what I'm talking about, but like a Boston cream stick, kind of that maple icing, this is what I was really hoping for with this one. Now, this one, unfortunately, as far as the scent notes go, I really feel like it didn't really dive into that. that maple. We'll talk about it in a second, but I don't want to forget to do the packaging again. The packaging on this one, I like the brown. I'm not so sure about this pink banner. Again, I think I would have loved, because the maple butter is a note, I would have loved tan. I would have loved a butter yellow kind of banner or swirl on this. I feel like that would have brought everything together. And then the actual little like croissants on this, I get that it's for a croissant vibe, but when I'm thinking buttery sugar, I don't necessarily would have, I don't know if I would have gone the croissant route, even though that is a fragrance note, so it makes sense. I don't know. I'm not really a huge fan of the actual croissants on it, but I do like the overall color scheme. Now this one says it smells like that rich, melt in your mouth, sweet and sugary first fall bake with an extra pat of creamy maple butter on top. Feels like iconic fall vibes, all things golden, cozy, and delicious, kneaded together into the perfect pastry. Now this one does go a slightly bready route, but the vanilla sugar adds a sweetness. So for me, I really wanted this fragrance to pull more into that maple area, but really it's just more of like a vanilla fragrance with a bready undertone. So for me, it was just kind of lackluster and what I thought the fragrance notes were going to give. So overall, I'm gonna give this one a 5 out of 10. It's not that it's a bad fragrance, but I'm thinking buttery sugar and that maple butter is on the fragrance notes. I want this to go much more of a maple direction rather than kind of this bready vanilla, which is what I feel like you got instead. But you guys, that wraps up this collection. So we have a total of 5 fragrances between the Halloween stuff and the fall stuff. I'm not entirely kind of familiar with the Victoria's Secret sales schedule as much as I am with the Bath & Body Works ones, but I do believe they are going to be running a 5 for $30 sale soon, which I feel like is pretty good, getting them at about $6 a piece. Other than that, I want to say they retail for about $19.95, $20 a piece, and they do go on sale sometimes for like 3 for $28 is what I believe I just saw on the website. But I don't know, you guys, I have never really ventured into the Victoria's Secret pink world, but I am excited to be sharing more body care news to you all as always. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments down below if any of these fragrances are interested to you, if you've already picked them up or if they're in your store. I always love hearing what you guys have to say in the comments, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video, found it helpful, and I will see you all in my next one. Bye guys!